Thank you, Reverend Dr. Ray. Our senior minister, Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Baltimore's Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson has frequently been referred to as a Renaissance man. One look at his resume and the reasons become clear. As a lifelong learner with a passion for self-development, personal transformation, transmutation, and self-awakening, he lives his bliss as a teacher, a mentor, a speaker, and minister, and so much more. His mission is to live, move, and be active. A, authentic. C, compassion. T, transparent. I, inspired. V, vibrant. E, empowered. A member of society who serves to educate, elucidate, emancipate, awaken, and empower us, the people, and our communities. And here he is.
Oh, hello and good morning. So today, yeah, you can tell what kind of day it is today, right? So you didn't know, I guess you saw that photo. You didn't know I used to be a nun, did you? Anyhow, different conversation for a different day. Today, our theme, our focus today is the idea of a playful pause, the opportunity to simply ground and anchor in knowing that at any moment we are able to, in a lighthearted manner, connect to the joy of life. In the science of mind and spirit, we teach and practice oneness. This means that the totality of our human experience is individualizing. This includes and embraces the idea of play/playfulness being an important and integral part of our lives. Life is meant to be good, and we are meant to be happy, joyous, and free. Pausing from our daily schedule and taking time for play and playfulness is an important way to co-create a life that we love. Catch that last part? Pausing from our daily schedule. Now, what this is implying is that in our daily schedule, we are so busy running around and so busy doing whatever it is that we are doing that we have to purposefully pause to give ourselves time to play. But what happens if we completely flip that paradigm so that play is an integral part in our daily schedule? Have you ever been someone who has been so busy that you forgot to eat? Now, eating is a fundamental part of our existence. We need to eat. And yet we were so preoccupied or so busy that we forgot. That's the key word. We forgot to eat. Oftentimes we forget to give ourselves space to breathe mindfully, to play purposefully. So let's flip that paradigm so that our daily schedule, we no longer forget to eat. We no longer forget to play. We no longer forget to breathe mindfully, but it is an integral part of our daily activities. Because when we, now there's this idea of play or having fun, where there's grown-up having fun. You know, I enjoy, Tracy, I enjoy when we get a chance to, go to the club and, get a couple of drinks and do this or do that. That's how adults have fun. And that kind of fun for whoever, whatever, yeah, it may serve its purpose. But the kind of playfulness we're talking about today, the kind of fun we're talking about today is the kind that is free to let go, free to be silly. What? Oh, I thought you were going to say something about me, Tracy. Free to be, hey, free to just play and have fun. Not the kind of fun that we Tupperware and categorize and compartmentalize as this, that, or the other. But I mean fun and playfulness the way kids, the way children have fun and play. There's no judgment. There's no criticism. Hey, you're coloring wrong. You're jumping rope wrong. Hey, that mud pie is wrong. You're making mud pies wrong. They just, hey, I like that mud pie. Can I have some of it? Here, have some. It's really good. Like kids play and have fun. Are we willing to do the same? Are we willing to engage in that level of, you know, it was funny because when, I'm not going to say any names because they told me that what happens in New York stays in New York, but we're going to just say that there were 4 people. Here's a story of 4 different people who went to New York and had a complete ball. They acted a fool and one of them got left behind because she walked so slow. But there was this element of lightheartedness and having fun. It wasn't about an agenda, although we did shop. It was just about being together and having fun. Reverend Dr. Edward Fulune and Reverend Dr. Chris Michaels both say, spend time with people who make you laugh. Do things that bring you joy. Go to a funny movie or a comedy club. Laughter isn't simply the best medicine, it is fuel for the soul. Laughter is fuel for the soul. Laughter gives us the ability to rise up. Laughter gives us the ability to do what is ours to do. Play gives us the space, the container to grow into our greater yet to be. Be with people, spend time with people who make you laugh, who let you be you, who let you let your hair or bald head be free. Be with people who simply let you be you. Why are you laughing, Tracy?
I'm remembering.
You're remembering? So you'll notice in this one picture, Tracy had a difficult time with, oh, Tracy didn't change the slides. She was busy laughing at me.
I was. Okay, here we go.
Sometimes you may not be laughing with, sometimes you may be, anyhow. Let's just pause for a moment and just revel in the laughter of Tracy, who had a difficult time with a bottle of shaving cream.
Yeah, that's the story.
That's the story we're telling.
And the photo is for the authorities.
The point being, be with people who make you laugh. Be with people who remind you of the joy of living. Be with people who lighten your load, right? Be with people who, when you fall down, they help you to rise up. Be with people who know and recognize the truth of your being. Invest your time in them. Allow them to invest their time in you. There is enough stuff in the world and enough people in the world, whether they are psychic vampires, actual vampires, vampires who love to vampirism vampires. Like, it doesn't matter who they are. There are enough of them right now because they don't know the truth of their being. The only way we heal the collective is when we are in spiritual community, when we are in Ohana, family, when we are in, and that could be family of choice, because some family do not give us the space to do this. Some family are the very ones who try to drain us They're the ones who knock us down every time we try to rise up. Sometimes that is what it is. What happens when we then choose consciously to be with people who nurture us, who pour into our lives, who share love and joy and laughter with us? Not only are we made, what did it say? Laughter is fuel for the soul. When our soul remains fueled up, do we not realize where we can then travel to? When we blast off, what universes and galaxies exist for us when our souls are fueled up and ready to explore and to be and to boldly go to levels of consciousness we may not have ever been before. Be with people who know you, who see you, who appreciate you. Deborah Rebel says, being playful naturally liberates the mind, opens the heart, and lifts the spirit. Take time to play today. Liberates the mind, opens the heart, lifts the spirit. Give yourself the gift of play today. There are times when we are growing up in life, and what are the conditions of life that train the playfulness out of us? How many times are we taught or conditioned to play less till we get to the point where we don't even know how to play anymore? How many times are we told, grow up, act your age, be mature? You are so immature. You have, Tracy, you have to take this seriously. You play too much. She's laughing at me right now. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, okay.
But when we adopt any of this as our thing, we become so serious, so solemn, so, I'm not allowed to laugh. If I laugh, my face might crack. Life is not meant to be lived this way. There is that element of spirit which can never grow old, which means there is that level of spirit which never grows up. Spirit is infinitely and eternally youthfulness in expression. So when we choose, what are the practices that restore, reinvigorate, resurrect our playfulness? How to play. What do we need to do? How to play? Do things that encourage a releasing of the ego. Because the ego likes to judge. You're doing that wrong. You're not doing that right. Why are you wearing that? Girl, I know you ain't going to the club wearing that. You just toe up from the flow up. That's ego. Now you can get feedback. Green's not your best color. Like you look more joyful in yellow, like whatever. But when that's ego that judges and evaluates, like, look, I'm gonna wear what I want to wear. But your hair's on crooked. Tracy said it looked good to me, so it's good to me, right? Release the ego. Do activities that are judgment-free. Engage in things where competition isn't the thing. How many of us sit down and play Uno or tic-tac-toe or Scrabble or whatever, and we get so competitive that we remove the fun from the game? Monopoly is all about me taking over. The capitalistic delusion, I am Jeff Bezos. I shall rule it all. It ain't fun no more, dude. Like we were having fun until you became crazy. Do encourage activities that evoke smiles and laughter. Play board games, have balloon fights, food fights, video games, finger painting, dancing, shaving cream, Tracy said, dance and sing in the street, play dress up, play charades, and there are a trillion other things that you can do. But whenever you are doing this, just remember to breathe, relax, have fun, be childlike, be innocent, be silly. Ego less, not ego gone, ego less, which means less judgment, be judgment free, laughter and find enjoyment in life. This whole idea of play is to be lighthearted. How many times have we heard someone say, I have a heavy heart because it is weighing on me? This whole idea lightens that burden. It lightens the load. It makes carrying what may need to be carried a little easier. Be cheerful and be carefree. Meredith Sinclair says, being playful is a key component in making us happier, healthier, and more present and connected in all of our relationships. The more we are able to play in relationships, the more connected we are. And ultimately, is that not what this whole spiritual thing is about? It's about being connected to one another, being connected as spirit to spirit as all that is. And we get to be healthier in the mix. What? I get 3 for the price of 1. I get to play and I'm healthy and I'm connected. And how could I say no to that? Raymont Anderson says, taking things so seriously that we deny playfulness is to deny ourselves the fullness of living life. Being playful is a vital part, a spiritual imperative of your radical self-care. If we are truly going to take care of ourselves, then we must have playfulness as a part of that. Otherwise, we're not truly diving into true self-care because we're not lightening the load. We're not rising up. We are not being healthier. From our evolutionary vision, a statement from the CSL Global Vision that is related to today's topic, we envision a world which has renewed its emphasis on beauty, nature, and love through a resurgence of creativity, art, and aesthetics. Beauty, nature, and love. How often do we pause to see beauty in nature and creativity? How often do we pause to see all of this wondrousness that is around us? How often do we allow that to seep into our cellular being and energy, the vitality of? How often do we go to art galleries and museums? How often do we go to the park and just marvel at the trees and the grass and the butterflies and the clouds? It looks like a bunny rabbit. How often do we simply recognize the beauty of creation, knowing that the beauty we see, we are only able to see it and experience it and feel it because it resonates with the truth of our being. If we didn't know what beauty was, if we didn't know what love was, we would not be able to recognize it. But what it is, we are. And all we are doing is recognizing this ability to be creative, to see the aesthetics of the universe expressing itself in art and creativity and music and all of this stuff. How do we reconnect to all of this in our playfulness, in our enjoyment, in our joyfulness of life? Ernest Holmes says, you exist so that divine feeling, fire, imagination, and creativity may be expressed through you. You get that? Divine feeling, fire, imagination, and creativity expressed through you, in you, and as you. The Spirit comes to you with a new and fresh creativity. The Spirit that is you rises up with this new and fresh creativity. You need not ask what others have done or how they have done it. Simply be yourself and express life as you find it and as you choose to experience it. Breathe, because that's a lot right there. You get to choose. You are the artist. You get to choose what goes on the canvas. You get to choose what musical notes get to be played. Safi's guitar doesn't say, well, then again, it's Safi, so maybe her guitar does tell her, hey, Safi, it's an E chord. Thank you. But we'll just, for the sake of conversation. The guitar doesn't demand of the artist. The piano doesn't demand of the artist what to play. There is a synergy because the guitar is also God in expression. So Safi being God in expression and the guitar and the drum being God in expression are playing together. They are co-creating together to bring forth this amazing thing that we recognize as music and harmony and joy through sound and vibration. We get to do that same thing with whatever we're doing, whether it's cooking, whether it's gardening, whether it's planning a syllabus for class, whether it's teaching a workshop. We get to do that with our lives in general. Michael Bernard Beckwith says, artistic perceptivity provides individuals the capacity to see beauty, the energy of luminous perfection behind a seemingly imperfect world. It enables us to see the indescribable. As a soulful artist, our inner vision begins to penetrate the world of concrete appearances. We change the very tapestry of life. There is this cycle of creativity and play that ever folds into. Play yields into greater curiosity, which yields into greater experimentation, which yields into greater creativity, and back to play. That's what we do when we treat. That's what we do when we meditate. Each of these things moves and yields into one another in an ongoing, ever creating, creative process of evolution. Charlie Peacock says, it's not just about creativity. It's about the person you're becoming while you're creating. You get that? It's not just about what you create. It's about how you are changed in that process. What did Minister Mo say earlier about prayer works? Did she not say prayer works? I hear you. I hear it. Prayer works, and I know it. Prayer isn't just for, Tracy says, hey, Rev, can you pray for me? It's not just about prayer changing her life. When I pray, the prayer changes me. When Safi plays music, what she is playing changes her. It doesn't just change those of us who feel the beautiful joy of what she's giving us. The gift also changes the gift giver. The artist is changed by expressing art. The chef is changed by providing the meal. The gardener is changed by creating the garden. It's not just about creativity in and of itself. It's not about stuff. It's about what we become as we create, as we build, as we transform. Because literally, our thoughts, our words, our feelings, our interactions, our painting, our creating, are being sung into the very tapestry of the universe. Safi's music is bringing world peace to people who may never hear her actual music. Get what I'm saying? When she sings, the vibration changes structures. For example, we're here in the house. Tracy fixes the speaker so we can hear the music because it was a little glitch. And then Safi's singing. She's debuting a new song for us. And it vibrates the paint on the walls. The photos on the walls vibrate. The house is connected to the earth. That means the earth itself vibrates under the house. The street outside vibrates. The people who walk across the street outside feel the vibration. They take that vibration home. They share it with their families. Their families share it with their families. And that is how the world is changed. Nothing we do happens in isolation. Every prayer changes the world. Every meal changes the world. Every garden changes the world. Every song changes the world. Everything we do impacts the world. That's how powerful we are. Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, oh, it's him again? He says, when we create, we are demonstrating spiritual principle. Now take that back to what I said. When Michael is cooking, he is demonstrating spiritual principle. When Safi is singing, she is demonstrating spiritual principle. When Faith and Sonya are interpreting, they are demonstrating spiritual principle. When Minister Mo is hosting, demonstrating spiritual principle. Whatever we are doing that is creative in the process is a demonstration of spiritual principle. We are engaging the creative process of spirit as the living embodiment of creation, the living embodiment of God itself. We are engaging the creative process as the very embodiment of creation itself. God does not create other than it as us creating. But God is creation itself. It is the energy of creation itself. It creates when we create. When Safi sings, that is God creating. When Fifi prepares a meal, that is God preparing a meal. When Jovan is joking with Tracy and I, or Jovan is making t-shirts, which reminds me, when Jovan is making, that is God itself engaging in the creative process. Everything that we do is that. And we can't help but to be changed by the process. There is only that which it is. And when we actively, consciously engage in it, then we dance purposefully, consciously, creatively, and we change our lives individually and the lives of all collectively. But when we deny this process, don't get it twisted, because that is also impactful in the tapestry of creation. For every song that I sing that says, I hate people, I hate them, that energy, if I am serious and I sing it forth, that energy goes out as well. Hate, bitterness, resentment are energies that stagnate the creative process. And we know that if I stagnate the flow of blood by tying something so tightly around my arm that my hand is no longer receiving the creative process, the creative flow, that there is an impact. My hand and my fingers change colors. The temperature changes, and eventually it falls off. The invitation is to restore the circulatory process of spirit, to allow the reciprocity of the universe to express in, through, and as us in this thing we call fun and enjoyment and laughter, lightheartedness. Breathe. This week's Playful Pause assignment is, Tracy said, do-do. I have no idea what that even, do-do. What does that mean?
You know what?
What form of playfulness will I commit to this week? This week, what will you?
Which one will you not commit?
Hey. Didn't this say judgment-free zone? Tracy said, which one will you not do this week? Hey, I can't help it if I live to play. But what form of play or What form of play/playfulness will I commit to this week? What creative activity will I commit to this week? Doesn't say think about. What will I commit to? What will I do? Have a conversation with. She's like, cuatro personas. Have a conversation with, y'all should have saw it. She was like, have a conversation with 4 people about what are the beliefs that have limited my ability to play? What have been the beliefs that I've held or were taught that have limited my ability to play? What are the beliefs that have limited my ability to be creative, to create, to draw, to paint, to write, to sculpt, to sing, to dance, to create in whatever form and fashion creativity is showing up? What beliefs have limited my ability to do this? And what are some things that I can practice this week to shift each of those beliefs about play and about creativity? And just as a reminder, anytime you want a copy of the slides, just email Tracy or I, and we will, Tracy's raising her hand, just email and we will make sure you get it. That way you have these and any other part of the slides. So at this moment, let us ground and anchor into this week's affirmation, declaration, knowing the truth of our being. I will say it first, and then together, if you feel so aligned. I take time today to play with and as spirit. Together, I take time today to play with and as spirit. Ooh, breathe and allow that to be the truth of our beingness. Today, I take time. Today, I afford myself the space and the grace to make time to play with spirit and to play as spirit. And at this moment of service, knowing that this thing we call service here at CSL Greater Baltimore, while this particular phase of service comes to a close, we know that how we as spirit serve in the world, serve one another, serve individually and collectively, that service goes on, it continues. And so we surrender into that joy and that beauty and that wonderment that comes from being of service, being a beneficial, beneficent, benevolent presence in the world. So we breathe in gratitude, knowing that we are love made flesh and that our presence matters. How we show up matters. And so we go out in the world, we do it, we live it, we be it in all areas. Surrendered because it's done, surrendered because it's good, surrendered because you are good. And so it is. Amen. Tracy's going to unmute and everything so everybody can love on each other. Blessings and love you.